Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Tuesdays with Tom. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty this morning, and so Tom is having some connectivity problems, but never fear, Michael's here. Today's G-list guest is David Tucker Jr. I wonder if he is a relation to Chris Tucker. We're asking him about that. He is the founder of the Pete This Actors Directors Guild, a nonprofit organization behind On the Set Summerfield Camp. So we look forward to hearing about him. First up this morning, let's have our Best Girl ad.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
That is Best Girl. TG, you back? You're on mute. Okay. Can't tell. Oh, no, I don't think Tom is back yet. Let's go to Sean with Got a Minute. We're going to do things in a different order this morning. Sean, are you out there with Got a Minute?
Good morning to everyone joining in with us. My name is Shantia Jones, and this is Got a Minute. It's Tuesday, and sometimes the blessing isn't in just getting what we prayed for. It's in realizing why it didn't happen sooner. Divine timing has a way of protecting us from things we weren't ready for and preparing us for things we once thought we'd never reach. Gratitude changes the way we see everything. Not just the wins, not just the breakthroughs, but the delays, the redirection, the quiet seasons too. Because one day you look around and realize what felt like waiting was actually becoming. Be grateful for where you are. Be hopeful for where you're going. And trust that what's meant for you will arrive right on time. And that's it. That's your minute. I want y'all to all go out and have a great day. And if you don't want to, then don't go out and ruin anybody else's, because they can do that for themselves. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Shantia Jones. This has Got a Minute.
Thank you, Sean, for that Got a Minute. Words of wisdom. We certainly appreciate it. Next, we're going to go to the roundtable guest this morning with Barbara Larkin, Barbara Wallace, and myself. Oh, we have Tom back. What's up, TG?
Y'all go ahead. I may be here just for a minute.
Okay. All right. Well, then you fit in where you want to. Okay. You know, this past weekend was Memorial Day weekend. And there were a lot of celebrations throughout the country. And it is an occasion that's reserved for our fallen soldiers and heroes. You know, and I decided to take a look back just to see about the origins of Memorial Day, and came along with some really fun facts and maybe some things that some of us did not know. Memorial Day, originally called Decoration Day, and it began after the American Civil War to honor Union soldiers who had died in battle. Then the first national observance were proclaimed by General John A. Logan of the Grand Army of the Republic on May 30th, 1868, when flowers were placed on the graves of fallen soldiers at Arlington National Cemetery and across the country. You know, and you think about some of the early observances, and by the way, the federal holiday of Memorial Day became in existence 1971. under the Uniform Monday Holiday Act. I didn't know it was such a thing that you had the Uniform Monday Holiday Act. Had you guys
Never
ever
heard
heard
that
of that?
before. No,
No,
did not.
no. And just to think, it only became a holiday in 1971. So,
Really?
yes, that's what it says here. That's amazing. That's an amazing
That
stat
is
because
amazing.
as a little kid, I thought we always celebrated it as Memorial
We
Day.
did. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
always been. I was going to say maybe some official document or something, but I know even as a little child, we observed Memorial Day, and my
yeah,
mom would always, we'd have cookouts and people were coming over. So yeah, I don't know
yeah.
why, but this became an official day in 1971.
I don't
So
think so. That's you know what this is part of that AI, and we'll talk about that too. But
right.
anyway, this was one that was interesting. It said early observances, communities across the North and South held local commemorations even before the national proclamation. In Charleston,
Mm,
South Carolina, May of 1865, newly freed African Americans organized a procession to honor 257 Union soldiers who had died in a
right.
Confederate prison camp
Hmm.
and reburied them and decorated their graves with flowers.
That's the one I know.
Yeah, that's
That,
what that's. I was
that's
going to
the
say
one I'm
that's the history
familiar
that I
with.
knew about. That's the beginning. That's the
Yes.
heart. The beginning of it was when the African American soldiers started it.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
That's what I remember. And just to add a little bit to that, having been in Charleston a month or so ago, well, a month ago, these soldiers which were in this prison in Charleston, they they buried them in a mass grave. And so,
Mm,
what the African Americans did to honor their dead who were part of that mass grave, they they reburied some of them, and they had markers and they decorated their graves as the first tradition, is what my understanding was. But I just think it's wonderful that they felt that strongly about their families who had made such a great sacrifice.
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Barbara, you were about to say something?
No, I was just going to say that's my memory of the beginning of it. I've always read that that's how Memorial Day started. Was these African American soldiers who wanted to honor their ancestors who had died before them and those who had been fought in the Union on the side of the Union. So that's my understanding when it all began.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Barbara, tell us what's on your mind this morning.
Which Barbara?
Wallace? Wallace?
Okay, thank you. Well, Michael, I spent the better part of last week out at Hoover Met. The SEC baseball tournament was held here in Birmingham last week in Hoover, to be exact. And we had a lot of visitors in town. There were, all 16 teams from the SEC played in this tournament, and there was a lot of baseball going on. I want to congratulate the Georgia Bulldogs for winning it.
Yes.
Our Auburn Tigers hung in there for a while. They actually played up
All
into the
right.
semifinal games, but it was a great tournament, great turnout. People were all over the place. The city was popping last week. So we were talking earlier about the traffic in Atlanta.
Okay.
The traffic here in the Birmingham area was pretty
All
heavy
right.
this week
Thank
as
you.
well. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
that game, from what I understand, Auburn was leading. Then they had a rainstorm, and they had to stop. And they went in and
yes,
sat down over an hour or so, and they came back. And uh, Arkansas came out hot after the
Mm.
rain delay, and Auburn went cold, and they ended up losing,
yeah.
I think, 2-1 or something like that. From what
Two
I,
to one. Yeah, that was the score. Yeah, there was a
yeah,
lot. There were several rain delays. Even the championship game on Sunday, there was a rain delay
yeah,
because there was a lot of rain here as well. And sometimes it would be a quick shower and pass over, and other times it would linger for a couple of hours. And so they have this rule where they can't play for 30 minutes after the last lightning strike. And so there would be times when they would clear the field after a lightning strike, and then it'll start raining again. So it was just delay after delay, but it was
mm,
very interesting. The folks here in Hoover did an excellent job keeping that field dry as they could, and so that they could play the game. But yeah, those rain delays were something else, and it did affect the play of, I know, Auburn and several other teams after those rain delays.
Okay. Barbara Larkin, tell us what's on your mind this morning.
Well, this morning I wanted to give a shout out to a very special cousin of mine. Her name She passed away last week, and Barbara, you may remember I went out to California to visit her for her 102nd birthday, and so she passed away
Oh yes.
this past week
Oh,
at 103. And the reason I'm
I'm
bringing her
sorry.
up is that Mildred Pitts Walter was a writer of children's books, and she has written over 20 books. And she's a winner of the Coretta Scott King Award for Children's Books. And she was a very active person with CORE out on the West Coast for leading protests. She's out there with her husband with signs. And, all of this was all in her story when we talked with her. And it's also in her book called, I don't know if you can see it, something, something inside so strong. That's one of her 20 books that she's written. And she really was a strong fighter. Was at 104. She had photographs with her and President Obama. She was just out there. She traveled all over the world, and she really was a wealth of information. And we will sorely miss Mildred because she was so special to our family. Just a wonderful, wonderful woman, activist, and just an educator is what she was. Yeah. So just give a shout out to her this morning.
Very interesting. TG, I see you join us. Are you with us now?
For a few minutes. Yeah, that's fine. Where are you? What are you doing? Round table?
We're doing
Go ahead,
round,
y'all go ahead.
round table right now.
Yeah.
Tom, you and I talked about this last night. The Cleveland Browns just didn't show up at all, did they?
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Cavaliers.
Yeah, I said the
Cavaliers.
Browns, but they're playing like the Browns too, aren't they?
Oh, that's a horrible
No.
comparison, Michael.
No, they were horrible. They were horrible.
They were terrible.
Yeah.
Man,
I was really surprised that they did not win one game in the series. I mean, that really
Nothing.
shocked me. I knew they would be. I thought it would be more competitive for sure.
It
Well,
wasn't.
they didn't come close to winning either one of
No.
those last
No.
two games.
No.
no. Well, I wondered, and I thought about this when that first game that they played against New York, and they were like just kicking New York's behind.
Oh, they
And
were.
they were up like 22 points, I think it was. And then they ended up losing their composure. And the coach never called a timeout. There we go, Tom, with this team rushing back. The coach never called a timeout to break the momentum. So they blow a 22-point lead,
They did.
go into overtime and lose the game.
Sure
And I was sitting there watching, and I said, I wonder if this psychs them out because that's the best they could play. They played at their top level that game, and
They
they ended
did.
up losing
Right.
that
And
game.
lost.
And I said, I wonder if that series right there is gone because of that from a mental
There
standpoint.
was something
I can
psychological
definitely-
that happened to them because when the Knicks would go
Right.
out on the fast breaks, they wouldn't even get back and challenge it. You know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
watched Donovan Mitchell,
Yeah.
man. Shit, he lucky he can shoot because he didn't play any defense. He and Harden, you know. What's Harden make? $40-50 million?
Yeah.
Man, he couldn't play for me making that kind of money. The way he played defense.
It was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah, they play. It was awful. I was
Look out
embarrassed for them.
defense.
Man, I tell you what, they could give me 10, I'd go out there and do what James Harden did. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard.
I can do that now. My shot may not fall, but I'll play
Yeah.
some defense. Won't nobody just punk me out.
Right. You stop. I was going to say you stop some other guys from scoring. That's for sure.
right.
So yeah,
That's right.
ain't
That's
no
right.
defense.
My scoring days are gone, but I know how to play defense. That's all about will and heart.
At least the other game's a good game.
Yes.
So
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
let's
Hey, I
see
got
how
something
that
for you
goes.
guys here. Check this out. This is the season for graduations, right?
Yes.
And people are graduating
Right.
and they have all these speakers are coming in. But there is a trend that's going on that whenever there is a speaker at a commencement exercise, that starts to talk about the virtues of AI or the benefits or AI in a positive manner, they immediately get booed by the students in
Yes.
attendance
Yes.
because they are
Yes.
saying AI is taking away their opportunities coming out of
That's
college
right. And it
because
is.
it's removing them out of the equation for entry level positions so they don't get an opportunity and what have you. And so
Right.
they're booing the speakers. And but it's kind of interesting. This woman went to a college and she was talking and she said to them that the rise of artificial intelligence is the next industrial revolution. The crowd immediately started booing. She turned to the other speakers on stage looking confused and asked them what happened. Then turned to the crowd and said, okay, I guess I struck a chord. Then she continued and said, okay, a few years ago, AI was not a factor in our lives. And when she said that, she got a roaring applause for saying that. So,
Right.
and the dichotomy in this, at least for me, most of these kids grew up in what, TikTok, social media, all of this stuff, the smartphones and
Right.
all of that with AI all around
Instagram.
them because it
Yes.
was still AI. We just didn't talk about it as
Right.
AI and it had matured. But then
Right.
they do not want to embrace it. They wanted to embrace it for social gatherings, so to speak,
Right.
or
Yes.
to avoid
Right.
talking to their baby boomer parents and what have you. But when it comes to the workforce, they're having an issue figuring out how to adapt with AI. What do you think?
Well,
Right.
I think you're absolutely right, Michael. And I think one of the problems that we have is that these young people have been in a culture where critical thinking has been a dirty word. But in reality, critical thinking is what's going to save them from artificial intelligence. Their intelligence has to be at a higher level and a deeper level and a broader level to be able to make AI work for them. But the critical thinking piece of it, where they're able to bring the human aspect to it, is what AI cannot do. And to be able to identify the mistakes, because that's what AI does. It's artificial. And you've got to be able to have some sort some sort of experiences that will bring you to a higher level of intelligence above artificial intelligence. Yeah. And the
Yeah. And
schools
but what they're
are
saying is,
teaching.
and
Hmm.
I was going to say what they're saying, and it's true, is artificial intelligence is taking over the workforce, and especially entry level positions in a lot of areas, and so they're not able to get jobs coming out of college after going to school for 4 years and not being able to use AI in the classroom, because most universities, I think, pretty
One.
much ban the use of it. So they're saying, yeah, okay, we can't use it over here, but the companies are allowed to use it, and now we can't get jobs. So I understand their frustration, but yes, you're absolutely right. The universities need to start teaching them how to take over the shortcomings of AI, because there are definitely some shortcomings there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think there's going to be a need for schools and colleges to have students have real hands-on experiences outside of the classroom and be able to use AI to help them in solving those problems that they encounter. Use it as a resource, not the answer, but a resource.
Right.
And so
Right.
universities and colleges are really going to have to make a shift uh, and be able to
That's where the shift
embrace
has to
AI.
start.
Yes, I
Right.
agree.
Yeah.
Yes,
TG?
I agree.
Did you call me?
I said TG.
Oh, trying to get off that hot seat, huh?
No, I know. I could tell that you had something to say, so I wanted to make
No,
sure you got
and you guys haven't introduced the G-list guy, right?
I mentioned
Just
him at the top
initially.
of the show, and
Initially.
then I was going to introduce him after we did "It's Your Money."
Okay, good. Let me
Yeah.
just quickly run about.
But
I want to talk quickly about John Buchanan, and I want to talk about John Buchanan because he was our congressman when I grew up. We had a big election last week. Who won, who lost, and all that stuff. Um, And I guess the question I have is, did the people win anything? And I don't think the people won anything. Growing up in Birmingham, my dad always voted for the Democrats. My dad said the Democrats were for the working man. But there's always a but when it comes to doing what's right. There was one Republican whose lever that my dad would pull, and that Republican was a man named John Buchanan, who was the congressman for us when we lived in Birmingham. He served from 65 to 81. He was the son of the pastor of Southside Baptist and a veteran who earned his degree from Samford. He was described as a moderate and a gentleman. And that didn't always please the moral majority, who were the precursors to the MAGAs of today. They objected when he voted to investigate the KKK. They objected when he advocated for women's rights. And they objected when he named blacks to his staff. But the big straw was when he took the position that black South Africans should be allowed to vote. That was enough to get him dumped from his seat in Congress. As a teenager, I remember him, and I remember how the district he served was made up of wealthy, over-the-mountain white folks and working-class blacks and whites in the city of Birmingham. He served them all while working to build consensus and make real progress on real issues. And all I can say is, man, those were the days, when things actually worked the way they were supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what you just described there is the definition of what a statesman is.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
It did not
True
matter
statesman.
that he was
Yes.
of a Republican policy persuasion. He worked as a statesman for everybody that he represented and to the good. And
Right.
that's crossover appeal. That's the type of Republican that I grew up with, so to speak. The
Mhm.
ones that
Right.
brought me into the party, like Senator Paul Coverdale, that I represented in Africa and the African American Economic Summit. There was people like that you understood that you had some commonality. Go
How
ahead.
could you be upset when a man says, well, those black people in South Africa ought to have the right to vote? Well, hell, that got him kicked
Right.
out of office pretty much,
Yes.
And I just remember him because it was, he came in 65. All the stuff happened in 63 in Birmingham. And so he had to have a lot of courage to
He
be
did.
able to say and do the things that he was doing. And I just remembered we were living in Titusville at that time. And the fact that this man was willing to make these kinds of stands. And the fact that my dad, who would only vote for a Democrat, went and voted for this man as a Republican. I think it said a lot for him.
It
Yeah,
did.
it does. And what does it say for your dad to do that too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Daddy took some chances that maybe he told me later on. He said, I don't know. I could have lost my job. I tell you one funny quick story about my dad is Daddy worked at a Sitco, and he worked outside as what they called a bracer. And so they loaded the pipes onto the train cars to take them all over the world. And Daddy's job was to make sure the pipes didn't roll off the train car. And
Yeah.
so his supervisor came to him one day and said that the superintendent at the plant wanted to see my dad. And my dad was wondering, and so he said, well, okay. So he's walking up to the office with his supervisor, trying to figure out what the hell he had did, because he didn't know he hadn't done anything. But so why was the superintendent wanting to see him? And so he walks into the superintendent's office, and the superintendent has the morning newspaper. And in that morning newspaper is an article about me when I had gotten a scholarship at Auburn to play football. And the superintendent asked him, said, is this your son? And Daddy said, I didn't know whether to tell him yes or no. I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And he said, well, yes, that's my son. And he said he stood up and congratulated Daddy and shook his hand. And Daddy said, from then on, he was kind of a star around the plant. You know? And yeah,
Right.
that was an interesting story.
That's a
That's
great
great.
That's a great story.
That's pretty funny. Your daddy said he didn't know whether to say yes or
He didn't know
no.
what was going on. He said,
Well, you
hell,
never know. It's
he had
Alabama.
never been in the superintendent's office.
right.
What's going on with me?
Yeah.
Right.
And he probably said, what the hell Tom's done now?
Yeah, man. And he said he went in there and he said the man had the newspaper in his hand. Daddy hadn't even seen the paper because he went to work at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right,
you know?
right.
Right.
So it was
Wow.
great. It was one of the things that
is great.
one of the positives of playing football, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
So where are we?
We need to do It's Your Money.
It's Your Money.
Okay, well, let's go. Last week, we started this segment called It's Your Money with financial advisors. We have financial advisor today of Kim Simmons is here. And so we're going to do another episode of It's Your Money. Can we run that episode, please?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kimberly Simmons with S&K Services, and I want to welcome you to this episode of It's Your Money. Today, I want to talk about painting your own picture. What in the world am I talking about? Creating a financial picture you hope to achieve is not like the snap of the camera button on your smartphone. It's more like painting a picture, stroke by stroke, until you achieve the desired outcome, a beautiful financial picture. We need to carefully plan each stroke, so to speak. It can be broken down into 5 very simple steps. First, don't put it off. The earlier you start saving money, the more time your money has to grow. Remember, the best day to begin may have been yesterday, but the next best day is today. Second, our second stroke of that paintbrush, be consistent. Small, steady habits make the biggest difference. Saving regularly, even in small amounts, can help you build momentum. Little by little really does add up. Third, protect your income. An emergency fund, proper coverage, and a plan for the unexpected can help protect your family from being thrown off course when life happens. Fourth stroke of that paintbrush, create an income stream strategy. Retirement is not just about reaching a number, it's about creating confidence that you will have enough income to live on and to live the life that you worked so hard for. And finally, our fifth stroke of the brush, look for tax advantage strategies. Look for ways to implement tax savings so that you can keep more of what you worked so hard for. That's all for today, everyone. And remember, at S&K Services, we're here to help you paint your financial picture one stroke at a time at no cost to you.
I want to say thank you to S&K. We appreciate them doing that and giving us a little bit of information, and one of the things, just a small tip, if you're paying on your mortgage and your mortgage is $2,000 a month and you pay $2,500 a month, you'll find yourself paying that loan off a lot faster than if you just paid what they ask you to pay every month. So just a little tidbit there. So let's go to the G list. Hollywood's got the A list, and here on Tuesdays with Tom, we have the G list. And our G list guest today is David Tucker Jr. David is the founder of Peeptus Actors Directors Guild, the nonprofit organization behind On the Set Summer Film Camp. It was established in 2007. The Guild was created to provide youth with hands-on opportunities in film, television, and media. So let's welcome David Tucker Jr. and have that conversation. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you all for having me, man. I've been listening to the show. Y'all have a good time. Y'all having a real good time. Whose idea was it to do this show at 8 o'clock in the morning?
You looking at it.
Okay. You're an early bird, huh, Tom?
Yeah, I am. I am.
All right. Okay, I'm with you. I'm
So,
with you now.
tell us a little bit about what you do and how you came to doing it.
How did I come to doing it? Okay. Um, Started a long time ago, back in 2000. I produced and directed my first feature film, and I sold it into the DVD world. So it went to DVD. This is when you had movie gallery, Blockbuster Video, and places like that. So that was really exciting for me to go into a Blockbuster and see my movie on the shelf. In 2005, I came back and I did a second movie called Magic City, and it actually went to Carmike Winsong theaters for a few weeks. So from that point, I had people coming up to me saying, "Hey, my child wants to be an actor," and they felt like I had the inside scoop because I was doing movies, and I really didn't. I was just doing movies, but I kept getting that question from just all over the communities. And I woke up one day after just thinking about it, and the idea of On the Set Summer Film Camp came to me. So that's when I started to say, hey, we got all these people in Birmingham, Alabama interested in wanting to make movies, wanting to be actors and actresses, and they don't have any resources. They don't know where to start, where to begin. So I said, they can start with me.
Okay.
Wow.
That was good.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it.
That's good, man.
That's identifying a need and coming up with a solution to it. So
That's it. That's
Absolutely.
it.
yeah,
That was
I
it.
like that. Yeah. I gotta ask you this though. You made a film of Magic City. That's not the world famous Magic City out of Atlanta.
No, man. No,
That's
no.
Birmingham.
It was titled Magic City because of Birmingham being known as the Magic City, and the setting of the story was a Birmingham setting. But no, not the famous Magic City in Atlanta.
Not the chicken wing Magic City.
Yeah,
Right.
Magic
The
City.
living pepper.
Tell us about the 50,
Yes.
the
The
documentary.
50. Yeah. 50 was awesome. That was a really good experience. So of course, me doing movies in Birmingham and things like that, the city of Birmingham knew about me, and they tapped me to do 50. And I tapped into community leaders, civil rights leaders in our area, in addition to our Birmingham City Council at that time, to create the 50th anniversary of the civil rights movement. I had Judge Clemens, Shelley Stewart. Oh man, the list goes on with the people who was in it that wasn't a part of the city council, but very, very interesting people that contributed to the movement during that particular time. Shelley Stewart's story was really phenomenal with what he did with radio and calling the kids out to the parks, and the code words that they used that spread it around the community, and everybody knew what to do when they heard these words and where to go. Just a really phenomenal story that it's supposed to be still at the Civil Rights Museum somewhere where you can go and see it. But it's a phenomenal story that we put together.
That's great. Sounds great, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Barbara, you got any questions for David?
Yes,
Go
David,
ahead,
tell
Barb.
us a little bit more about the camp. Tell us a little bit more about the camp. How do people register their children for the camp? What are the dates for it, and is there a cost? Just give us more background about the actual Set It Off camp.
Absolutely. So On the Set Summer Film Camp teaches filmmaking to kids from the ages of 10 to 18. And this is where they can learn not only acting, but producing, directing, cinematography, as well as how to set up the lights. A lot of people were thinking that this is just an acting camp. It isn't. It's a filmmaking camp. And these kids go through a crash course of a week of training. And then we bring them back the second week and they actually shoot a short film that stars a Hollywood actor. We are grading these kids during this entire process because in the fall, we come back and we have a premiere and an award show where they are awarded in the categories of Best Director, Best Producer, Best Actor, Actress, and so on. So the program itself is really phenomenal. Yes, there is a cost associated with it. It's $300 for the 2 weeks. And that does come with free lunch. It is from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are headquartered at Ramsey High School. And we have been around now for 19 years in Birmingham, Alabama.
Wow. That's great.
Wow. Amazing.
And I know of it personally because my great nephew, Kyrie, right, has attended the camp and has really enjoyed it the past couple of years. So it is phenomenal. But you don't just operate in Birmingham. Tell us what other cities you have the camp in.
That is correct. We now operate in 6 different states. So I tried to branch out by myself in Atlanta, a one-man team. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Atlanta, pass out these flyers, get people interested and have registration, and it's gonna be a blast. So here I am. I go out to Piedmont Park and I'm passing out these flyers and telling people when registration will be. I had a cousin at Georgia Tech, and I asked him, I said, hey man, I need someone to have registration. He was like, come on over to Tech and we'll put you up. So had the registration and 3 kids showed up and I was devastated. So a few years later, God's perfect timing, we were doing the camp in Birmingham, and Lamont Rucker was our celebrity mentor for that year. And the storyline included him having a love interest. So I called my theater friend, Mark Raby, who I do quite a bit when I'm looking for adult actors, and told him I needed someone to play opposite Lamont Rucker. He's coming to town for the film camp. And he said, okay, I think I got the perfect lady for you. Her acting name is Seven. So I got Seven on the phone. She and I, we talked, and she said, listen, I think my husband would also like to participate in your camp. Do you think you can find something for him? And I said, I think so. I said, who is your husband? She said, my husband is Murphy Lee of the St. Lunatics. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can find something for him to do. So we created a best friend for Lamont Rucker, and it was Murphy Lee from the St. Lunatics. So before I got Murphy on the phone, he told me to contact his manager. Called his manager, and his manager said, hey, man, I've been hearing about what you're doing down there in Birmingham. I want to bring something like that to St. Louis. I was like, okay, that sounds really good. I think we could put something like that together. And Marlon Whitfield, my business partner, he was the first link to us spreading out to different cities. So we have been in St. Louis for 10 years. We have been in Houston and Nashville for 5 years. And last year was our first year in New Orleans and Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's
amazing.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Do you get your kids in the guild?
And the Actors Guild?
Yes.
We have not done that yet. No. Is that something we should do,
Yeah.
Tom?
Yes. Simply because if the kids stay in it long enough, they'll get residuals, they can get pensions, they can do a lot of things down the road that, in addition to hopefully being a star one day.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
yeah, it's a good deal. And Atlanta's they're right over there in Atlanta. They got a big branch and would probably welcome the young people.
Okay.
I would
Gotcha.
say.
Gotcha.
And
Noted.
can help in any way, I'll be glad to.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. Okay.
So
Thank you.
I wanted to ask a question, David. I'm Barbara Pitts Larkin, and
Hello.
I was very interested in how you expanded to St. Louis because I lived there for a number of years and attended school. So I thought, wow, that's kind of interesting going to St. Louis. But you've told the story how you got there, so I kind of got that. But what I wanted to know about the camp that's in Birmingham, what months does the camp operate? Is that in June, July, or August? And how do you gather your support staff? And how many students are usually in the camp?
Okay. You guys froze just a little bit, but I think I got your question, and
Okay.
that's um, the operation in St. Louis and how do we get our kids?
Mhm,
So we generally don't exceed 30 kids
mhm.
for each city. We like to stay around 30 kids per city. And what was the second part of your question, Barbara?
It was about the support staff. You must have support staff with 30 children.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, so we reach out to local filmmakers in each city first to find the production crew, and then we find the acting coach and the directors. So we have a professional from every element of a film crew
Mhm,
on set to teach the kids prior to going off set on the set and making the movie. So it's just literally of who do you know, who does she know, would they like to participate, and so on.
mhm.
It's
And
friends helping friends.
and what months are you active in with the camp in Birmingham?
Our camp in Birmingham starts July 6th and it goes through July 17th.
Okay.
And we typically run all of the camps during the months of June through July. Some of them sometimes run consecutively. So we travel a lot. Marlon and I travel a lot.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, typically June and July months we're running.
Yeah.
So do
Yeah.
you run them concurrently?
Uh-huh.
You're doing the one in Birmingham at the same time you're doing St. Louis?
Sometimes they overlap. It just depends. They sometimes overlap from city to city. Birmingham could start its first week on Atlanta's last week, but we sometimes overlap them. Yes, yeah,
Mhm.
and that's because we only have a 3 month summer,
Yeah,
so we have to make sure that we get everything going before the kids go back to school.
I think that's
Okay.
great, man.
Yeah.
Thank
Anybody
That
you.
is
got any other
great.
questions for Mr. Tucker?
Well,
Yes, David.
oh,
Yes,
go
I
ahead,
have
Dave.
one.
Michael. Go ahead, Michael.
David, let me ask you this. What you're running is a business and it's nonprofit. So how you get your funding?
We are a nonprofit. Yes, we are, and we get sponsors. So they could donate to Peepus Actors Directors Guild through the website, or they could reach out to us through email on the set bham@outlook.com. We have had sponsors from Birmingham, Alabama Power. The city of Birmingham has sponsored us before, Regions Bank. So we solicit support through our emails and presentations. We have presentations for sponsorship support to let our supporters know what we're doing, why we're doing it, how important it is to the community. And, the proof is in the pudding and the shining stars that have come from being a part of our program. So we are always looking for support. We are always looking for sponsors in every city.
Mhm,
Cool.
mhm. Yeah,
I just want to congratulate you, man. I think it's wonderful.
it is.
Thank you, Tom. Thank
You've
you. I
put
appreciate that.
you've put that together, especially for the kids, and and as you know, and you're doing the whole thing. Not just in front of the camera, but all of
Mhm.
it that adds up because
Yeah.
most people just say, well, I just want to be an actor. And,
Yep.
there's a lot more
Right.
to it.
Yes.
A lot more to it. A lot
And
more to it. And the consistent jobs are behind the camera.
there
Mhm.
you
A lot of people don't know that, but the
go.
people that consistently work are the ones that are behind the camera.
There you
Yes.
go. You're right.
Yep.
You're right.
So,
Appreciate it.
so David,
Anybody got
share your
anything else for David?
Yeah, I do.
yeah, David, share your website so people will know where to go to register and find out all the information about the camps.
Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate that. It is onthesetcamp.com. And onthesetcamp.com has a lot of information on that website. It has all of the celebrity mentors that have participated in our camp throughout the years. It has behind the scene photos of our kids working to make these productions happen, stories about our background and things like that. We even have some clips of some of the work that the kids have done in the past. But
Mm-hmm.
onthesetcamp.com is very informational about our summer camp and what we do in the community.
I had a chance to spend a little time there on your website, and it was just very exciting. And I think students would gravitate towards what you're doing. So, my question is, David, what do you see for the next 5 years for this wonderful camp that you're having in many, many locations? What's your 5 year goal, or how do you see yourself in the next 5 years with this?
Our goal is to create a partnership with a major network to whereas the kids are creating these films, but they now also have an outlet, a national outlet for everyone to see the work that they've done in order to put the films together, in addition to them getting the exposure, letting more kids know around the country that there are resources in their communities that can teach them these life skills. So we are looking to partner with networks. We are looking to expand to more cities and creating that national outlet where everyone can learn about On the Set Summer Film
Great.
I like to say, having been doing this for a long time, I think if people can understand the career aspect of it, everybody doesn't
Camp.
get to be a big star.
Hmm.
But as you said earlier, if you're working steady, that's as good. That's probably as good as it might get in some cases. But that would be good, very good. And so I think if you're teaching them the right way, and you're teaching them that everybody doesn't get to be Brad Pitt.
Right,
Brad Pitt got to be
right.
Brad Pitt because Brad Pitt was lucky in a lot of ways. And that's not taking anything away from Brad Pitt as a human being or an actor, but you have to have some luck to get far in this particular business. And most of the people who have risen to those levels will tell you how lucky they were at some
Yeah,
point. Somebody, somewhere,
absolutely.
hey,
Absolutely.
I'm
I agree. I agree. And I was touching on some of on some of the shining stars that have come through our program. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Netflix series called Bridgerton, or
Yeah.
if you even are aware of Shonda Rhimes. We
Oh, yeah.
have a
Yes.
shining star student, Ebony Price, who came through our program. She came through our program 4 years until she graduated out. She went on to Hampton, graduated. No, I'm sorry, Howard. She'd probably kill me if she heard me say that.
She would.
Howard graduated from Howard Radio, Television, Film, and she is now the production coordinator for Shondaland. We also have a young man, Kobe Holman, who was had a recurring role on Fear the Walking Dead. Had a young man that was on Black Lightning. So we got kids that came through our program that are actually working in the industry. Another thing that I want to create is a network of these kids being
Mhm.
alumni of On the Set Summer Film Camp and reaching back and saying, "Hey man, I heard you came through On the Set Summer Film Camp. So did I. What are you doing? How can I help you?" And just keep creating that network in every city that we operate.
That's awesome.
quick. There are two people in Birmingham. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Well, one of them's in Montgomery. They just moved back. April Cheney, who April does makeup. She was one of the top makeup artists in Hollywood. Did a lot of the stars, and she has moved back to Birmingham. She has a shop over in Vestavia. Would be a good person to connect with. Would probably love to work with some of your kids. She's a young person. And April Cheney is her name, and I can get you in touch with her if you would like. There's a
Yes,
guy in
absolutely.
Montgomery, Stefan Deming. Stefan did hair. I worked with Stefan on about 5 or 6 different shows. He moved back to Montgomery and is working out of Montgomery. You don't have to live where you work. He can go work anywhere, but he lives in Montgomery.
Right.
And so both of those people would be good resources for you guys. I'm sure it would be somebody you could bring in to talk to your kids, and they have a wealth of experience, man.
Absolutely. I'd love to work with them. If I can get their information, I'll reach out to them. Thank you, Tom.
I'll get it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Anything else for Mr. Tucker?
And well, again,
Go ahead,
I just
Barbara.
want to say that I had an opportunity to attend the premieres last year and this year of the camp. I mean, the film that the children from the camp produced, and it was phenomenal. They do an outstanding job. And David, I don't know how you select the kids and determine which role they're going to play, but Ethan Jackson was one of the stars in this film that I saw a couple of weeks ago, and he did a phenomenal job, as well as the young lady that was the supporting actress. And yeah, they are all just awesome and do a wonderful job. I thank you all for what you're doing with the young people in here in Birmingham.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you. And I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, David, let me ask you this. I know that AI is touching everything. Is that infiltrating your part of the business in any way?
Not in a negative way. We are planning to implement it into our program to teach it. So I heard you guys talking about AI earlier and how the booze that it was getting. We just got to roll with it. It's not going away. So we got to learn. We got to learn it. We got to teach it and grow with it. So yeah, we're going to implement that into our program, into our teaching, and it's probably in our filmmaking. So it will show up in the movies as well. Yeah, it's here to stay.
Yes.
It is.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that you may kind of implement it into your filmmaking or something like that. So good to know that. So, yeah, fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd just like to commend you on doing the 50. How tough was that to be able to find people that were around at that time and were like maybe involved with city government and what have you when those events occurred, to be able to go back now this many years later to put that together? Was it very challenging?
It was very interesting because they all knew each other. So when I interviewed Judge Clemens, he would talk about other people in the community that had impacts. And I would get contact information from him. When I go to the next person, they would talk about other people that had impact in the community at that time. And I would get the information from them. So it was a circle, and everybody still knew each other and knew the stories behind whatever impact that particular person had. So it wasn't that challenging to actually get the people, but it was very interesting in how everyone connected to the next person.
Okay, interesting. That is interesting. That'd be something I would really like to observe. And I just noticed, maybe you are aware of this, but Clarence B. Jones, he was the attorney that worked with Dr. King when he wrote the Birmingham Jail and I Have a Dream. He did a lot of the speech writing and collaborating with Dr. King, and he just passed away on the 22nd of May. And there was a write-up about him and the role he played behind the scenes in helping to organize a lot of the demonstrations and what have you for civil rights. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I think he was like 90-something years old and so.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Yeah, that is interesting.
I think there are quite a
Great.
few people who were involved that are still in the community.
Oh, yes.
A lot of the children are now adults. And of course, Shelley Stewart at 91 is still here and
Yeah.
still doing great things.
Judge
He was on. I'm sorry, Tom.
No, I just said Judge Clemens, Shelley. There's a bunch of them that are still here.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
David, is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you wanted to mention?
Yeah.
I think we touched on some good topics. I'm hoping that whoever's watching got a good idea of what we do, and why we do what we do in the community. Storytelling and being able to control the narrative is very important, especially in our community. And being able to guide young people to write stories that are intriguing, creative, and controlling their own narrative is one of the reasons why we continue to do this, because we want to make sure that we are in control and we are guiding our young people in the direction that we feel like they should go in. So
And has registration open for the camps already? Can people start
you
registering
can,
now?
yes, you can. You can pre-register now. You can go onto the website and click on the link to apply now and pre-register now. Registration for Birmingham, where we get to meet the young person that we haven't met before, is June the 27th at the Westin, and that is from 10 to 2. Again, that's June 27th at the Westin from 10 to 2. That's Birmingham registration. Um, I don't have all of the dates in front of me right now for the other
Right.
cities, but they should be on the website. Yeah,
So is June 27th the only date for Birmingham?
that is the only day for Birmingham. If you can't make that day, just send us an email, pre-register on the website, and one of the administrative assistants will reach out to you to make sure that we get your information.
Okay. All right. Thank you. This is
Thank
great.
you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you,
I'll get
Tom,
you
man. I
everything.
appreciate it.
All right.
What
Thank
was
you.
that? Okay.
No, I said we'll get you that information. I told you I'd be get you too.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, man.
Okay.
all right.
See you later.
Okay. I see it. We've got quite a heat of the night following on this show. And I read an article the other day about Howard Rollins, Howard E. Rollins Jr., as a matter of fact. He played Detective Tibbs on the television show In the Heat of the Night. Let me say first, Howard was one of the best actors I've ever had the pleasure of working with. The first scene I ever shot on that show was with Howard. And after we did our little walkthrough, I knew I was in the big leagues because Howard was awesome. There was, when they started the show, there was the executives in Hollywood had gotten word that they thought Howard was gay. And they wanted Carol O'Connor to tell Howard that he should go out in public in Hollywood with women so that he could be seen with women and it wouldn't be who he was as a gay man. And so Howard refused, said, that's not who I am. I'm not going to do that. So they went to Carol O'Connor, who was executive producer of the show, and told Carol to tell Howard that he had to go out with women. And Carol refused to do it. He said, Howard, make up his own mind about what he wanted to do with his life. Howard was a class act, man. He was the best actor on that show. He's the best actor I've worked on maybe 50 different shows. And he was the best actor I've ever worked with. He and Alfred Woodard. Did Howard get away with stuff on the show? Yeah, he was the star. We always had to wait on him. You know, we'd be sitting there and we'd be ready to go. And they said, well, we're waiting on Howard. And Carol would just find something to do until Howard showed up. And Howard had some issues, got in trouble over in Atlanta. We shot over in Georgia. And Howard was put in jail. And Carol, in one of our meetings before we were shooting Carol suggested that we write Howard a letter because he had to be in jail for like 5-6 months or something like that. And so I wrote Howard a letter and told him how I felt about him, what a great guy I thought he was, what a fantastic actor he was, and how it was just an honor for me to work with him. Howard wrote me back, and I still have his letter in my stuff. A letter from Howard Rollins from jail in Georgia, and just telling me that he appreciated me writing him, what a great friendship we had, and he was looking forward to getting out into working with it. That, when I look back on it, I mentioned earlier about being lucky. I was very lucky that Carol selected me to be his city council person. I went for the audition the second year that I worked on it the first year, and the second year I had to go and audition again, and I did, and he hired me again, and treated me great, both he and Howard. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I was fortunate, and Howard was a class act, and I'm glad he didn't do something that he didn't want to do, and he wasn't going to do. And if you watch TV this week during the Memorial Day weekend, A Soldier Story is running, and he plays the captain in that story, and actually is the star of that story. Fantastic actor, a great human being, and I'm very fortunate to have worked with him. That's our show for today. We want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. Thank our G-list guests. Thank our sponsor, Best Girl Inc. Let's see. Thanks again to the TWT team, Barbara, Sean, Emily, Michael, and Joyce. And as always, a special thanks to you, the audience. And that's it for this May 26th in the year 2026. Remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. You got an extra smile, give it to somebody. It just might make their day. Enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Don't let a day go by that you don't take the time to make your life or somebody else's life better. Stay safe. Blessings. Peace.